Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Your Golf Travel podcast. I'm here to introduce Simon Holmes as our Chief Tuition Officer. So welcome, Simon.
Yeah, David, thank you, mate. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, good stuff. We've done a couple of these things before, so we're old friends, shall we say. Simon, what do you think? First impressions?
Yeah, it's a magical destination, isn't it? I mean, I think that, congratulations to, really, I think, goes to the founder here of Costa Navarino. The concept to bring golf to Greece, right?
Absolutely.
The concept to build the scale and to make it into, it's not a resort, it's a destination. It's a golf town. And if you do come here, if you're lucky enough to be here, and you're not playing well, don't worry about it. Just look over there. All your problems are solved.
All solved. Talking about solving problems, you have coached some of the best players to have played the game. The list is quite extensive. Who for you were the best ones that you've coached?
Well, I would say that when I was a very young coach, I had the opportunity to coach Nick Faldo, Sir Nick Faldo.
Major winner
multiple times, and at his best, he was the best, number one player in the world. And I think for me, the knowledge, or at least the opportunity to learn from him, who was an amazing at giving feedback, so incredibly good at giving feedback, like very articulate in what he was feeling. Did it feel robust? Did it not feel robust? You know, for Faldo, he was more really about getting himself into those majors and having a game that could stand up to the pressure. And he was able to do that. So I really, really feel as though I enjoyed it. I'm super privileged to have been a part of that thing. But from the education of what I was learning from him and that situation at that time was invaluable for me.
So you were teaching him as much as you were as learning from him?
Well, I was probably trying to be like the eyes and then the guide and perhaps the discipline around, listen, let's not go, that feels like a dead end. Let's stay on these basics. So what you tend to see from those players is they're amazing, right? But they're also quite ambitious on what they think they can achieve, right? And technically.
Well, they've got to be, haven't they?
That's the
there's
drive.
no ceiling.
No, there's no ceiling. And you've got to then temper it, because you've got to be thinking, okay, the Masters is coming up. The US Open is coming up. The Open Championship is coming up. For Faldo, that was an enormous event. That was his event. We've got the Irish Open to practice a bit. We've got the Scottish Open to practice a bit to get the right pattern of shots. This feeling gives this pattern of shots. So then he could reference that. And so you're moderating. I would say my role was tons of feedback. Like, I could watch more balls than he could hit, right? Young, super enthusiastic. He was top of the game. And so then you kind of make a deal where you're like, it's very, very structured. The goal for today is this. The goal for the next hour is this. The goal for the next 30 minutes is this. Down to the goal for this ball is this. And so you try to isolate it all the way down, make it at its most uncomplicated for him, which then was a tool which he could then go and take onto the golf course and compete under pressure and manage that process.
Amazing.
Well, he was amazing. He was at his best. He was the best in the world. I mean,
that Masters with Greg Norman.
The 96 Masters, the shot that he hit into the 13th hole, the 2-iron. I also think Fanny Souness and his caddy was another huge part of what he was able to achieve on the golf courses under pressure. She was one of the first super professional caddies that I saw, was intimately knowledgeable on his game, was always her timing of saying, okay, listen, forget about this, or come on now, let's go, what are we doing here, let's go. She was really, I don't think he would have done his damage that he did during that time period if she hadn't have been a part of that process.
Wow.
But the shot on 13, he picked the hardest shot to put the pressure on him, put the pressure on Norman and squeeze him. And it was interesting because I remember talking to Faldo after that, and I remember saying, you know what, here's the big thing. On the Saturday afternoon, Phil Mickelson 3-putts 18 to get Faldo to play with Norman in the last group. And I said, that's the key you want, because Faldo and Norman had beef, right? They had friction. And Faldo he's got blue eyes. He can do the Darth Vader. He's taller.
Yeah, he's larger than life, isn't
right? And I just felt as though if there was going to be a change on that day, it was Faldo's personality that would arrive there and unsettle Norman. And the conflict, the difference in their games, Norman was much more of a gambling style player. Faldo was a chess master. I need to be here, I need to be here, I need to be there. Faldo only had one putt from above the hole, which was on the ninth, which is probably where you have to be. Apart from that, it was a totally clean round, hitting the ball in all of the places he needed to do, and he just choked the life out of Norman, and he won that 96 Masters.
You know, looking back, that's one of my first memories of the Masters, 95, 96.
Yeah.
Makes me feel quite old now, but that's one of my first memories, and for you to be sort of part of that is pretty epic.
Oh, unbelievably epic. And to think back on it, of all those different players and of the different times that they won, like Bernard Langer won the 93 Masters, and I was coaching him at that point, and that was fascinating to see his approach. If you look at those two guys, Faldo's career ended obviously a lot earlier, and Langer's career is still trickling on. I know he's just trying to recover from a nasty Achilles tear, but
yeah,
nevertheless, iconic guys. Guys who were the first Europeans to go to America and win, the first Europeans to beat the American team in the Ryder Cup. And they moved that needle. They moved it to where Europe started to create these amazing golfers who played on a global stage.
Yeah.
And the one guy who was the catalyst for all of that was Seve Ballesteros. And all of those guys I know would say, more than any other belief that I had internally in me, the guy who put his arms around us in the Ryder Cups and told us we could beat the Americans was Seve. And the European Tour, a DP World Tour, at that time moved into another level onto that same kind of platform to PGA Tour. It's not probably there now, but there was one man, father in the sense of that new generation of players, and that was Seve.
You can see it now with the Ryder Cup teams, how much of a homage they pay to him every time the Ryder Cup is on. You see it in the changing rooms, all of his quotes, pictures of him. And look at when Alazabal was captain. Like that was for Seve, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You could see it. The whole team were fighting for him. They had him on their shirts.
Yes, Seve.
He was the one, wasn't he?
David,
the Godfather.
He was the man. He was the Capitano, and there was a power in that man of belief and drive and determination, which was awe-inspiring. And when Seve was happy, you could see the crowd was happy, and when he smiled, everyone. He gave us so many amazing moments, didn't he?
A lot of
Just
charisma.
Incredible.
Like oozing.
Like Arnold Palmer was probably the same kind of cat. Nicklaus wasn't. Nicklaus was amazing. Nicklaus was more like a Faldo. But Arnold Palmer had a wow, right? And for me, Seve had like triple wow, right? And those are the steel strands of European golf into the ground. That's what we build our foundations on.
Amazing. Seve was the one, wasn't he?
Seve was the man.
So Simon, we're gonna wrap up with some quick fire questions. Not very many. So first one, best golf course you've played?
Ooh, I'd be a links golf guy.
Okay.
So the links courses, I think that Turnberry is probably a big favourite. I think Carnoustie is one of the hardest links courses that I've played. But I'd be a links golf guy over like a woodland guy.
Okay, cool. Best player you've played with?
I've been so lucky, David. You're not going to like the answer to this. I mean, I've played with Nick Faldo quite a lot of times. I played with Nick Price a lot of times when we were in.
Price.
I know, yeah. Who was an amazing player, an amazing guy. So I've been lucky to play with. I play with Lang. I play with a lot of my idols, and so I would say, any one of those ones, just to be on the same course and to be in the same space on a golf course, which for me is like my favourite place. With those guys, amazing, right?
Excellent. A travel question. We're Your Golf Travel. We couldn't do without a travel question. best place you've been to play golf as a destination?
I'd say my favourite place to play golf, and it's probably because of I'm there with my parents and my wife and my 2 young sons. There's a magical place in the Mediterranean, Verdura Golf Resort. I think, to be in that place where there's just like a vibe. It's in Sicily, 2 amazing golf courses, a foot from the Mediterranean with all of the practice facilities and other amenities. You go around on bikes.
Perfect.
Right? There's something about the place, the courses, and the vibe, and I think that my family's there. That's my hotspot.
It's more than just golf, isn't it?
Way more than golf.
That's in your DNA now.
I love that.
And last question, as our Chief Tuition Officer, what are you going to bring to your golf travel and YGT Select clients?
So I would say, I think that the YGT guys, and certainly Select, are serious golfers. Right?
Yep.
And what the most fun thing, this is amazing, right? But the most fun thing about golf is getting better, right? And so what I hope to be able to do is, through either direct communication or mass communication, be at least like a resource to try to take that sort of I want to get better energy, which is a very YGT kind of style, and just see if we can find those players a few more upgrades. If you go on an amazing trip with us and you play a little better, can't be better than that.
Can't be better. Sunshine, good golf.
Better
what more
golf.
do you want?
Better golf. Anything.
What more can you want?
Sunshine and better golf is a good day.
That's the winner. Simon did mention which venue we're at, and this is the fantastic Bay course at Costa Navarino. We're going to go and tackle it a little bit later on today, but thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.